for the mirror. Joy came and he counted.
Check. And Aaron, make sure they get the 1,000 seats.
Joy to my baby girl, cause the king love us more than we deserve. Yeah, I'ma have to spread the word. Good news for the hood dudes trying to make it work. Yeah, joy to the world. Yeah, to the little boys and the girls. Yeah, for the right days and the dark nights, it be alright. God gon' keep us word. Yeah, I know.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Everyone. How's it going in here? And how's it going out there? We have a live service going on right now.
If you're here live, come to the front. Sit one of these dots on the floor.
Yes.
Come on up.
And if you're watching live online, welcome. If this is your first time tuning in on YouTube, throw it in the chat. We want to say hey. Hey to everyone in the room as well. We have a question for you.
Question.
As we get started.
What's your name?
Hi, my name is Mike Lee. Just kidding.
My name is Jackie Chan.
Nice.
Hi.
Anyone in here have Thanksgiving leftovers? Still?
Ooh.
What do you have as leftovers? Turkey? Everyone on YouTube, if you have leftovers, put it in the chat. We want to know what you have, because here's what we want you to do. Does anyone have pie still? You still have pie? Hey, you're doing it wrong. You should not have pie this late after Thanksgiving. But also, bring all your leftovers here to the church. I wish I could tell you it was for a really good reason. I'm just really hungry all the time. It's really just for me.
I'm the same. Right now, I can't even put this.
Yeah. Hey, you look good though, Taffy.
Thanks. You look fantastic.
Thanks, man.
All right.
If you don't know, by all the lights in the room and the suits that we're wearing,
it's Christmas!
It's December. It's Christmas time, which
the greatest
December
holiday
1st
ever.
is when you can start, for the first time, start listening to Christmas music. December 1st.
December 1st.
Yeah. Not Thanksgiving.
Nope.
Not the day after.
Nope.
Morgan Nelson does it like back in September. It's fine. But it's only December. That's what I say.
Oh, that makes sense.
Awesome.
We started July.
July? Nice.
Christmas in July. You like it?
Awesome. Hey, we have a couple announcements as we get started. Number one here is Kid City is reopening.
Yep.
January 10th.
Tell your brothers and sisters and your parents.
Yeah, and they need your help, though. If you're a middle school student here in the room or online, we need your help. Kid City is opening up all across Hope, all campuses on the 10th. And if you want to do tech, or if you wanted to do small groups or welcome team or whatever it is, Kid City does need all of our help. So if you want to get involved with that, come see me or Aaron. Talk to your campus leader, your small group leaders, and we can get you connected to the Kid City team. And also, if you didn't know, we have opened up in-person services, and you can get tickets. You can reserve your spot. Everyone here has this morning. Hey, kudos to you guys.
Everybody say hi.
Hey.
How to say hi. There you go.
Online, you can reserve your tickets at kidhope.net/reopen. But we have a game that we're going to play.
We're going to play a game.
Yes.
So if you are online, we want you to be very, very vocal on the chats. But if you're here live with us right now, you have a paper in your hand. One says 1 and one says 1,000. And what we're going to do is we're going to compare two different things on what is 1 and the price, or what's like one thing, one item, how much does that cost? Or 1,000 things,
yes,
and how much those cost, and which one is more? And so and so if on the chat, you are going to tell us 1 or 1,000?
Yeah, just type in 1 or 1,000. Here in the room, you're going to show us your cards, 1 or 1,000.
All right, cool.
All right, let's go to the first one.
First one, here we go. Either 1,000-foot lit garland or 1 dishwasher. Show us your cards right on those chats right now.
We have ones in the room.
Has more.
Costs
more.
I mean, it's a garland. Those are like what 50 cents?
More? What costs more, 1,000 or 1 dishwasher?
It's got to be a dishwasher.
All
You're
right,
saying 1,000. You're saying 1,000-foot garland here.
The majority.
1,000-foot garland.
You know, it's 50-50 live. It is 50-50 live. Here we go.
What is the answer?
1,000 feet. Garland.
I almost said 1 dishwasher because I'm an idiot. I can't read.
$950. That's a lot for garland.
Well, hold on a minute. People spend that. Well, I don't know if they spin that.
Do you guys even know what garland is?
It's
Okay,
that.
just make sure. I'm just making sure.
It's
It
that
just looks
on
like
the screen here.
Yeah, very good. All right, let's go to the next one. Here we go. Online. Make sure you're commenting in that chat. Here we go. Either 1,000 LED lights or one set of Joy-Cons. One set of Joy-Cons. 1,000 LED lights or
We got 1,000.
One
We got
set of
1,000. We got one in here. I don't know. 1,000 is a lot, but I think it's deceptive. Like one string of lights with 1,000 on it might be 10 feet long. I just don't know.
chat. What are you putting up on there? Show us. Here we go. And the answer is anyone in middle school.
it's Kid City Live.
One set of
Nice.
Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons.
$79.
Awesome.
$80 compared to $63.30.
So, students, as your parents are decorating and you see a lot of garland, you can say, instead of garland, you could have bought me Joy-Cons for my Switch.
There you
That's
go.
what I learned here this morning.
We are informing you, not just live, but also online.
Yes.
You can tell your parents. Next one. Here we go. I cannot move my arms in this jacket. I cannot point.
1,000 trees? Who needs 1,000 trees?
Cut Christmas trees or one diamond castle from Disney World. Disney World.
Diamond. It's a
Diamond
hey,
castle.
everything at Disney World is expensive already. The Mickey Mouse ears ice cream, which is the only good thing Disney does, is like $12.
You got to think 1,000. That's a lot because that's about $50 to $80 average.
I'm
on
saying
the
that
street.
Diamond Disney World Castle. We got
All right.
1,000. We got 1,000. We got one. We got one. You got Diamond Castle over here. 1,000 lights right there.
We are half and half again in live.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Chat. I don't know where you at, but
It's like
I put it on
political
there.
season again.
All right, show us the answer. $74,000 for 1,000 Christmas trees. Unbelievable.
I'm more
Unbelievable.
surprised that someone's going to pay $37,000 for one item at Disney World.
How many of you want a diamond castle from Disney World?
Oh yeah, I do.
Some of you.
I do. We got a couple people in here who do too. What's next,
You
Daphne?
are princesses. Here we go. Next one. 1,000 gallons of eggnog or one miniature horse.
Bye, bye, little Sebastian.
You love
Mini
eggnog.
horse from Parks and Rec. That's what I think of. All
You
right.
love eggnog, don't you?
I do love eggnog.
How many of you
And
guys like eggnog? Raise your hand.
I'm gonna say
Eggnogs?
1,000.
If you don't like eggnog, tell us why you like it. Tell us why you don't like it on that chat right now.
I like it because it's the best thing ever. That's why I like it.
It is gross.
Stop it.
Even the name of it is just gross. Eggnog. It's gross. It's gross.
I can't respond to that other than saying I'll buy 1,000 gallons of eggnog over a mini horse all day, and then I'll swim in it. I'll put it in my swimming pool. I'll pick a bath.
I'd rather have a mini horse than eggnog.
I'll have so much fun with
All
it.
right, what's the answer? 1 to 1,000. We've got 1,000 gallons.
1,000 gallons. Yes.
That is a waste of money right there. Almost $10,000.
It's a waste of money if you don't like eggnog, but if you do, it's the best thing you can ever purchase.
At least you have. I'd rather have a miniature horse. Miniature horse all the way.
No way.
I cannot lift my arm in these things.
Hold on. Would you rather have it in online or in the room? Would you rather have eggnog or a mini horse?
Raise your hand for a mini horse. Raise your hand for a mini horse. Raise your hand for eggnog.
The mini horse is going to poop on
No
all
one else wants an eggnog.
Listen,
There's no one.
it's not an eggnog. The mini horse, you know what it's going to do? It's going to poop on your pillow. What's next?
All right.
The mini horse is going to poop on your pillow.
Who cares? All right. Here's the next one. 1,000 grande
care.
peppermint mochas or one Mac Pro.
1,000. 1,000. If you don't know, Starbucks is not good at naming their sizes of drinks.
No, it's not.
Grande means large. Venti means large. Tall means a tall cup. It's all the same.
So when you go there, just say small, medium, or large. Don't go with that.
Yeah,
kind of weird
grande. This is a medium or an iMac Pro, a Mac Pro, which is for pros only.
1,000, 1 on
Peppermint
the chat. What are you guys saying? 1 or 1,000 on that chat online?
All
right.
Peppermint mochas are the best thing about Starbucks holidays.
Peppermint mochas?
Peppermint mochas.
See, the thing is, I just don't like Starbucks at all.
Why?
I just
Do you not
don't-
like stars or bucks?
Either or.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. All right, and the answer is 1 Mac Pro.
$6,000 for a computer with no screen?
1 Mac Pro is $6,000.
There's not even a screen on it.
Man.
What am I going to do with it?
If you're online and you're using a MacBook Pro right now,
Does anyone? You know what? Don't ask. I was going to ask if anyone has one of these at home, but that's a little intrusive. I'm not going to
I
ask.
think I have one more. Is one more?
I think there's one more.
I think there's one more.
Is there one more? Uno?
Yes, one more.
One more.
All right, show us that last one. Here it is. 1,000 sugar cookies or 1 razor hoverboard. What do we got here, live audience? What do we got here, live audience? We got one. What? We got about 4 of you at
1,000 sugar cookies.
1,000
sugar cookies.
Man, can you imagine if you ate 1,000 sugar cookies?
Yes, I can. I think every year, throughout the year, I probably eat close to 1,000. If I added it up all year long, I mean, during the holidays alone, it's hundreds.
Well, I think throughout the year I've eaten a Razor hoverboard. So, yep. Okay, tell us what you got online. And here's the answer. Here it is. A Razor hoverboard. One Razor hoverboard at $200.
You can get 1,000 sugar cookies for $53. That's the best news all day.
Hey, online, thanks for playing that game. Live crowd, thanks for playing that game. Right now, Tyler is going to kind of explain what's going to be happening next, so we'd love for you to pay attention.
Yes, we are starting a brand new series called iSearch, and here's why. Every single year we do this. This year was a little different, but we kind of survey our own middle school kids at camp. We couldn't go to camp this year, obviously, but we asked middle school students, what questions do you have about God? And from your guys' questions, because here's the thing, I'm old. I have gray hair. I don't have one brown hair on my head anymore. They're all gone. We're old. We don't know what it is like to think like a middle school student anymore, so we ask. And you guys have basically said, like, is it okay to doubt God? Or what? Why do I hurt if God is all good? And when I pray, does God even hear me? And a lot of other questions you guys raised as well. So for the next 3 weeks, we're going to answer some of the biggest, most consistent ones that we got. And so today, Aaron is going to kick off our series called iSearch with his message on doubting and answering the question, is it really okay to doubt God? And what do I do with doubts? And before he comes up, I just want to say this. There is a right way to doubt, and there is an unhealthy way to doubt. If you're ever doubting your faith in God or doubting if he's real, don't keep it to yourself. Talk to somebody about that. Talk to your small group leaders about that. That's a healthy way to do that. So as Aaron comes on up, I'm just going to pray, and we're going to have a quick little bumper video to show you guys as we go into it. But welcome to week 1 of our series, iSearch. Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for who you are, that even when we doubt, God, you still love us. Even when our faith is kind of wavering and is not as solid as we want, God, you still call us your own. Here's what we're asking, God, this morning, that you would allow Aaron to speak the words you've given him about what it means to doubt well and to doubt and how to navigate that, because you want the best for us. And God, ultimately, that means us knowing you deeper. And if doubting you is how we ultimately get to know you even better, because we are asking questions and we're exploring those answers because we're getting to know you, then God, we praise you for that. But I pray for these students and these leaders in the room, because we all have doubts. I pray that we would leave today with the tools, with the knowledge, with the confidence that we can doubt and we cannot lose our faith in you. I pray this in your name, Jesus. Amen. Turn your intentions to the screen.
You search for it. But what about when you feel
when
lost?
Something is lost, you search for it. But what about when you feel lost in your faith? A natural part of owning and growing in our faith is wrestling with questions.
We go to God with
These aren't the kind of questions we can just ask Siri. We go to God with these questions because only He is big enough
what they would ask God.
We surveyed middle school students to see what they would ask God, and we are tackling the most popular questions from a biblical perspective.
Well, good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? Good. Hey, quick question for you. If you were here live and in person, how many of you, this is your first time back in person since we've relaunched? It's a decent number, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. No high fives. I saw that. Social distancing. Stay on your dot. If you are watching online, we're so glad that you're here as well. And as Tyler mentioned, and as you heard in that bumper video, we are launching a brand new series today called iSearch. And really, this series could be called uSearch, because you guys were the ones that submitted all of the questions that we're talking about in this. And while we pulled those things from you guys, we really appreciate, because let me tell you what happens. Usually a few times a year, we all get inside of a room and we're like, hey, what should we talk to the middle schoolers about? What is the thing that we want them to know? What do we think is super important to them? And we try to figure that out on ourselves, but we can't, because we're old. So instead of us trying to figure out, hey, what do we think you guys want to know? We reach out to y'all and say, what do you actually want to know? And there's two things that we realized from this, okay? The first one is everybody has questions. All of us. We all have questions about something. And right now, specifically what we're going to be talking about throughout the course of this series is questions about, really, a lot of it comes out of this book. Now, if you're not familiar, this is a Bible. This is a book that is thousands of years old that millions and billions of people around the world today still read. And why do they do that? Well, it's because we believe that this is actually a message from God to us. And so God spoke to a bunch of people a long time ago and said, hey, this is what I want everyone to know. This is what I want people to know thousands of years from now. What's your name? Megan. This is what I want Megan to know thousands of years from now. And so we got this book called the Bible, and we read it, and we read things from it. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes it's very confusing. If you've ever been confused reading the Bible, raise your hand, write it in the comments, let us know, right? There's a lot of crazy things that happen. There's snakes and donkeys that talk. There's some guy who was really strong until he started dating a chick that cut his hair. There's seas getting split open. There's bears killing children. That's just the Old Testament, right? We didn't even get into to all the other New Testament stuff. So the Bible can be really confusing at times. So when it comes to the Bible, this book about God and this book about life, and when it comes to life and God, we all have a bunch of questions. And so here's what we're going to do. This is something I want everybody to make a note of, okay? Two things. One, having questions does not make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad Christian. Having questions is a part of actually growing and owning your relationship with God. Now this, I don't know about you, but this is super, super comforting for me to know because we all have questions. And what I want you to do is I want you to turn to somebody next to you, if you're here in the room, or if you're online, I want you to write in the comments. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I want you to say or share what is a tough question that you have about God, the Bible, life, any of that stuff, okay? So if you need to find somebody, you can find somebody. If you need to move around on dots in here to get closer to somebody, your groups can be as big or as small as you want them to be. Doesn't matter. Take 2 minutes. But this is what I need everybody to do. Raise your hand, your right hand for me. Raise your right hand and say, for the next 2 minutes, I will not judge anybody. So if you're nervous to ask your question because you're like, hey, I don't know if I should know the answer to this already, or maybe it sounds dumb or whatever, you don't have to repeat all that. I know that's a mouthful. But if you feel like that's you, I want you to know that for the next 2 minutes, and no one will judge you. And this isn't a place where you have to answer somebody else's question. All you have to do is listen and hear one another's questions, okay? Give you 2 minutes. If you're watching online, I'm actually going to hop in the chat and talk with you guys. 2 minutes starts now. Go. About 10 seconds left. All right, we're gonna have you guys turn back in, and I'm gonna make sure that all of our friends online can see us as well. It's so weird. I have my phone open up here, and I see myself on YouTube looking at you guys. And that boy ugly. No, just kidding. So we all have questions, right? And if you don't mind, if you're okay, is anybody okay sharing their question? This is still, I know the 2 minutes is over, but this is still no judgment zone. Does anybody feel okay sharing their question? Yes. How can sin not what? How can sin not come into heaven? So if God made the world perfect and God made heaven perfect, I think I get your question. Like if sin entered the world, what's to stop sin from getting into heaven, right? Is that your question? That's deep. Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
So I just thought of the question, but like it's kind of related to that.
Mm-hmm.
So if God created the world to be perfect, then how come Satan sinned? Like how did that just come about?
Right. So kind of the same thing, right? How could Satan come into the world and sin if he made the world to be perfect? Anybody else? I saw a couple from online. One of the ones that I saw that was a great question, I think, because we talked about this book called the Bible. Somebody asked, how do I know I can trust the Bible when there's so many other religions that have, and they put in quotes, holy books, right? Like everybody has something they believe. How do we know that ours is the right one? Yo, there's a lot of questions. And these are really tough questions, and I don't have nearly enough time to answer it, nor am I smart enough to answer it. And nor do I think that Tyler or myself or anybody has enough time to answer these questions from stage for you. But what I hope to get out of today is that we learn how to navigate through these, because I think they're all super crucially important. So first of all, thank you all so much for asking them and sharing them and being honest, right? Because we do all have questions. Now, a lot of us times we have questions that are kind of silly. So for example, some of my questions that I ask is, yes, that picture is supposed to be there, I promise. If it's always served hot, why do we call it chili? Right? Doesn't really make sense to me. I don't get it. Another question I have is, you ever go to a place and you see one of these signs that says shoes and shirts required? If I don't walk in with pants, am I good? I don't know. I'll test that theory out and get back to you guys. This one has always been super confusing to me. The fastest speed limit zone anywhere in America is 85 miles per hour. It's on this random stretch of road in Texas. Why can my car go 120? Feels like you're just trying to get me a ticket. That's what I really think is happening here. And speaking of cars, have you ever noticed that you get on a plane, you get on a train, you get on a bus, but you get in a car? Why do we say that? I don't know. English doesn't make sense to me either. And so we all have these questions. We all have these things that we're aching and dying to know. And you want to know how I know it? Because one of the biggest industries in our world today are these things. They're these smart devices, right? This is an Echo Dot. Maybe you have a Google Home or you have a Siri or whatever. Here's the thing. We are so desperate to have our questions answered that we let little robots live in our house and listen to everything we say just in case we randomly have a question, right? Some of these questions that we have sometimes are, Alexa, what's the value of pi?
The approximate value of pi is 3.141592653589793238462. Yowzer. This goes on forever.
Cool, that's helpful. Thank you. I don't know when I'm ever going to need that information, but I already learned more right now than I did from my entire time in math class. Here's an age-old one that we all probably wonder. Alexa, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck?
A woodchuck would chuck all the wood he could chuck, if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
That sounds pretty good. Here's another one. You can ask her some personal questions too, like, Alexa, who's your favorite Avenger? No comment. Alexa, who is your favorite Avenger?
Black Panther. Wakanda forever.
I think that's the only right answer. Good job. And then she can really answer some of the world's deepest question, like, Alexa, where is Chuck Norris?
If Chuck Norris wants you to know where he is, he'll find you. If he doesn't, you won't know until it's too late.
That's good advice. I want to know that. I want to be aware of that all the time. And sometimes, Alexa, I tell you, she listens to everything you say. Sometimes she gets really creepy. She actually heard that. Stop it. Alexa, why is Tyler's hair gray?
It's because he doesn't like Disney movies. By excluding the happiest movies on earth from his life, he's been abnormally stressed since the age of 6.
Poor guy. Poor guy. Alexa, thank you for being so helpful. We appreciate it. She heard that too. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Oh, that was so nice. Nicer than some of the people that I know in my life. But here's the thing. With all the questions that we have, we can have a lot of fun with Alexa, and she can try to help us out. But there are some things that she just can't deal with. And these are the things that our souls want to know. So, for example, if I said, Alexa, what do I do when I have doubts about God?
DUI's definition is the United States federal department charged with conservation and the development of natural resources, created in 1849.
Thanks, but that doesn't really help me out very much. Alexa, if God is good, why am I hurting?
I wish I knew, but that question is really complex. I'm sorry that you are hurting, but there isn't much I can do for you.
Alexa, how do I know if God heard my prayers?
I'm sorry. That's a really heavy question. I don't think I can help you.
It's really unfortunate, because those are the things that I really need to know. And when we looked at the questions that you guys turned in and the way that you submitted your questions, these were the three things that came up the most often. What do I do when I doubt God? Why am I hurting so much? Or why am I feeling so much pain? And when I pray, how do I know if God is truly listening? And so these are the things that we're going to be talking about over the course of this series. And today we're going to start with this first one, which is I doubt. And this is what I want everybody to know. God isn't scared of your doubts. He's a loving Father who wants us to come to him for answers. You're going to hear me say that a couple of times today because that's the truth. That is the thing that we want all of you guys to walk away knowing. So we're going to get into that just a little bit, and then I'm going to wrap up, and everybody's going to have time for small groups, whether you're online or here in person. You're going to have time for small groups. But I want to ask a quick question. If you are online, I want you to comment on this as well, but pretty random. How was your Thanksgiving? Good? Thumbs up? 2 thumbs up? Not great? It was awesome. Yes? It was interesting, okay? Anybody else's wife almost killed somebody? Just me? No? Nobody online watching? Nope, just me. All right, cool. Well, here's what happened. He raised his hand. Here's what happened. So we were driving down to New Orleans. My shoe got caught under the podium. We were driving down to New Orleans for Thanksgiving to spend time with my family, right? And it's around 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., this is 2 Sundays ago. We're driving down. We're going to stop in Atlanta to go meet my dad. And right around the time the sun started setting, Morgan and I switched who was driving because I was tired. I've been driving all day. I was done with it. So I was like, hey, Morgan, will you drive? Cool. So we're driving, and she's chilling, minding her own business. I'm talking. She's talking. We're having fun. And the next thing I know, she goes to swerve off the road. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen, you know how when you drive down the highway or down the interstate, you have the interstate, but then you have that little like on-ramp that comes and it makes this little triangle. There was a car parked in that triangle spot, and she swerved and stopped about 2 feet behind it. Now, let me tell you what I thought happened. I thought she was driving, minding her own business. She saw a car on the side of the road and said, "Ooh, 20 points," and tried to aim for it. That's what I thought was happening. Thankfully, I wasn't the one driving because what I didn't realize was that there was a man standing in the middle of the highway at 6:30 at night, sunset. He's wearing all black. Not a good situation, right? We're going like 75 miles per hour. I wouldn't have seen this guy. So we stop, we pull over to the side of the road. Morgan's freaking out. Her hands are shaking. She's crying. And I'm like, I'm just going to call 911 because we didn't know what was going on. This guy's car looks like it's operating fine. He's standing there with his hands on his knees like this. Every few minutes, he starts playing with his hand. And so we're like, he looks okay, but like, you know, doesn't look too crazy or anything like that. So what we did was I called 911. I'm like, hey, I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm somewhere in Atlanta. There's a guy on the side of the road. Meanwhile, Morgan's in the background like, I just killed a man. I'm like, don't say that when I'm on the phone with the police. That is like rule 101 on what not to say when you're on the phone with the cops. So while we're talking to the police officers, this guy comes and walks over to the car. This is an uh-oh moment. I don't know if you ever had one of these, but it's like something bad is about to happen. So he comes over, we roll up the windows, we lock the doors. Actually, so the windows were rolled up and the doors were locked, but we rolled the windows upper and we locked the doors, locked her, right? We wanted to make sure there was no way this guy could get in. So he came over and we're freaking out. Around this time, Eddie, who's the high school pastor here, he calls me because he needed to find something here in this building. I'm like, Eddie, don't go anywhere. I got off the phone with the cops, but I shouldn't have gotten off the phone with the cops. I need you to pretend to be the cops so that I don't get off the phone and this guy kills me. So he's outside of Morgan's window trying to get in. I'm like, Morgan, leave it rolled up there. He comes around to my side of the car and he goes, roll the window down. I'm like, no. He goes, roll the window down. I can't hear you. I said, I can hear you. Start talking. Explain what's going on. So right around this time, the guy goes to his car. He reaches in his car. He grabs a pen. And Morgan thought he was like going to go grab a gun or something. Like she has the hand on the trigger, like, or the hand on the Prindle, the stick shift, thank you, has her hand on the stick shift, ready to peel out, ready to go. This guy comes back out with this pen, and he puts the pen on the hood of his car, and then he walks back over the door. He goes, I just left a party, and I ate something, and I'm having an allergic reaction. I couldn't breathe, so I parked my car and jumped out. And we're like, bro, that is not how you avoid death. You don't jump into the highway by means to try to save yourself. So we're freaking out. We stay there until the cops come. Ultimately, they call an ambulance. This guy turns out totally okay. But the question that I want to ask you guys is what do you think was the reason for us not letting this guy into the car? Yes. Fear, okay. Could be dangerous. Stranger danger, right? Like the first thing you learn. You don't do that. So these are the things that Aaron and Morgan didn't know. Here's a little lesson, all right? The first one was we didn't know if we can trust him. Which is what you guys said, right? Fear, stranger danger, all that stuff. The other thing was we didn't know if we should let him in. Now, these seem very logical right now, right? Especially as I look at them. But it's funny because the longer that I look at this list, the more that I start to realize how familiar it looks. See, this is the way that Morgan and I treated a stranger on the road, but you could just as easily change the title of this slide to Reasons Why We Doubt God Sometimes. The reason why we doubt God sometimes is because we don't know if we can trust him, right? I mean, where do we get this book, the Bible, from? And yeah, I think God was talking to me, but how do I really know if that was him or just a bad burrito that I ate? How do I process that? And then we don't know if we should let him in. We don't know if when I'm dealing with doubt and struggles and all this other stuff, is that the person I really want to talk to? When I'm dealing with hurt, do I really want to go and talk to God about that? Because here's the thing, you ever had somebody hurt you and you give them the silent treatment? That's just kind of a natural, we clam up, right? We kind of lock down. But with God, we tend to do the same thing. When we don't know if we can trust him, we lock the doors, we roll up the windows, and say, God, I'm going to try to figure this out on myself, on my own. And the scary thing about that is that that is the worst possible thing that you can do in that situation. Long before I realized or started to believe for myself that the Bible was true, I had to come to a place where I realized God was real. Now, all of us are going to have different experiences with that, and I think that the more that we seek after him, the more we'll find that. You'll actually hear more about that later on when we look at our verse from James 4, that the more you learn to spend time with God and get to know God and pray with God and talk to God, the closer that you'll actually be, and the more you'll actually start to see some of those doubts begin to fade away. But I had that moment when I was in high school. I used to read the Bible, made zero sense to me at all. And I remember I was in a place where I was hurting. I had gotten out of a breakup from a relationship I had no business being in the first place. And when I was hurting, I said, God, look, I want to believe that you have something for me. I want to believe that the Bible is true. I want to believe these things. I need you to make it real to me. And from that day forward, y'all, I swear it was like a blindfold came off. I opened up my Bible and I started reading, and for the first time ever, it made sense. I can't explain how it worked. I wish I could do that for each and every person in this room, but I can't. I am incapable of doing that. Only God can do that, which is the reason why when we reach moments of doubt, we need to go closer to God and not further away from him. I'm going to go back to this really quick for just a second. Remember, God isn't scared of your doubts. He's a loving Father who wants us to come to him for answers. And if that's not the way you view God, I encourage you that there are ways that you can do this, but you do that by starting to spend time with him. This is that verse from James 4:8 that I shared earlier. Come close to God, and God will come close to you. I think the reason why we run into so many issues is that we retreat, right? We're like, oh, I don't understand this thing about God, so God must not be real. Peace out, God. It was nice knowing you. Be happy to have my Sundays back. But really, we should lean into those moments and get to know him and begin to talk to him. Why? Matthew, can I use you for an example really quick? So let's say I wanted to get to know some stuff about Matthew, right? What would be the best way for me to do that? Ask who? Ask who? Ask you? Why would me asking you be the best way for me to learn something about Matthew? Oh, your name's also Matthew. That's why. I was talking about the Matthew sitting behind you. But the best thing, so let's go with you for a second, Matthew, right here. So for you, the best thing we'll do is to actually ask you, right? Now, let's say I went and asked the other Matthew and said, hey, Matthew, what's this Matthew like? I don't know if you guys know each other very well, but if you don't, you could tell me whatever you wanted, and I would believe it. Does that mean that it's true? No, right? And so this is what happens, right? We start to doubt God, and so we go, well, what does science say about God? Well, some parts of science say that God isn't real, that he doesn't exist. So then we're like, okay, cool, that must be the end of that. We start to say, well, who really created the world? How did the world get here? Well, if God is actually the creator of the world, wouldn't it make the most sense for us to ask the creator how he created? If you want to know one of the questions in the last service was, why did God make me this way? Why don't you ask the God who made you? That's how you get the truth. It's by talking to God, who is the source of all truth. And I know for some of you, maybe you're like, hey, I've tried. I've wanted to do that before, but I've just been confused. Listen, stay diligent. Stay patient. I know that sounds tough, but find people around you who will encourage you to do those things, because that is how we ultimately grow closer to God. Now, I am not a smart man. We could end the service right there and we'll be done and be like, yep, that's true. Amen. Good job, Aaron. Listen, I am not a smart man. I'm not the smartest person in this room. If we got rid of Alexa, I might be the smartest thing on this stage. Maybe. And my Bible. We'll have to get rid of that too. And if I'm not smarter than the other people in this room, who am I to think that I'm smarter than God? I'm not. So who am I to think that I can figure things out independent of him? And this is the reason why the Bible tells us in Psalm 3:5, I'm sorry, this is actually Proverbs 3:5. I messed up on that slide. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. We talked a little bit in the last series about how our hearts are deceitful and how we try to rationalize things in our head that aren't always true or make sense. Listen, this is the way to counteract that. God says you don't have to try to figure it out on your own. You don't have to try to figure it out on your own. Instead, if we learn to trust him, we can begin to grow in our relationship by coming closer to him as we draw closer. Or I'm sorry, as we draw closer to him, he'll draw closer to us. You guys are going to get ready to go to small groups in just a minute, whether you're here in the room or you're online. But in your small group time, you're going to take a look at a passage of scripture from the book of Matthew. This is a book that talks about the life of Jesus. And this particular instance is a time where Jesus was hanging out with a group of his friends. And something happened that caused his group of friends to doubt him. And so we're going to see the way that Jesus responded to that doubt. Y'all, it's okay to have questions. We all have them, and we all get confused from time to time. That's okay. I think the moment you start to realize that you're not in this alone, but that there actually is a God, the God who created the universe and the God who made you personally, once you realize that, you'll start to find yourself finding those doubts come away, because you say, hey, listen, I don't know if I can trust the situation. I don't know if I can trust these people around me all the time, but I know I can trust God. And if I know that God and his word are true, then I know that's where I can always go for more truth. Let me pray for you. And then I'm actually going to invite Tyler back up to dismiss our online crowd. But if you are here in person, you guys are going to head to small groups, which if you don't know where to go, you can come over to this side wall and I will get you situated. Dear God, we love you so much. And we're so thankful for you. And Lord, I pray that for each and every person in here who struggles with doubts, who struggles with just those questions that keep us awake at night and wondering what to believe. Lord, I pray that we all start to draw a little bit closer to you, that we all start to make an effort in our relationship to get to know you, because, Lord, you want to know us. And so as you do your part, we pray that each and every person here does our own part to be involved in that process. And so, Lord, help us with our doubts. Please bless our small group time and our conversation. We love you, and it is in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Aaron. I want you guys to know, real quick, before you hop off the YouTube, guys, if you're online, I was in the back. I was in the chat on YouTube, and there's some incredible ministry happening in the chat. I'm just so thankful that we have a staff and the people in a church, and you guys who are tuning online this whole time. I'm just so thankful that exists. Man, we're super glad to be on that chat. But guys, on YouTube, you are dismissed. Go ahead and go to the link below in the bio. You can head out, and here, if you are in person, we have just one more announcement for you real quick. If this is your first time here, especially keep it coming back, guys, welcome back. We want you guys to feel like this is your home here. One of the ways is by just being generous and giving final little gifts. If it's your first time here, we have some free t-shirts in the back for you. They're pretty awesome, like super, most soft shirts I've ever wear. You'll ever know. Yeah, Matt has his on. Matt, stand up for it. Show it around. Yeah, these are some super soft dress-in shirts. If you don't have one, don't leave without it. If you don't leave without it, there are that back people out back there. I'll help you out. But how are you responders? We're going to do one back here, and then we're going to do 6th grade girls. So there's 7th grade, 6th grade girl. If you're a 6th grade girl, you're going to go